Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all the noise and give you the essential insights on stories that really matter.
That's right.
And today, we're diving deep into the Omaha Gridiron League, the OGL. For anyone maybe new to it, we're talking high-stakes fantasy football. They just wrapped up their very first season with, well, an absolute legendary Super Bowl.
It really was something.
So our mission today, we're going to unpack it all. Every key strategic call, the standout players, those moments that just made you go, wow.
Yeah.
We want to give you that shortcut, so you're totally up to speed on this incredible finish.
And we've got the goods, a really detailed recap, basically looking at it like the OGL's own commentators broke it down.
Exactly. So get ready. It's going to be a mix of sharp analysis, but also some just unforgettable moments.
And like you said, this isn't just about who scored what. It's really about getting into the why. Why did things happen the way they did? Understanding that strategic chess match.
Right.
Because, what actually makes a championship season? Especially like the very first year of a league like this.
Good question.
Is it just talent?
Mm-hmm.
Is it being adaptable? Or maybe just that sheer grit to overcome stuff you didn't see coming? We saw all of that in this game.
Definitely.
And honestly, there are some really fascinating lessons here for, well, any fantasy manager trying to build a team that can actually contend year after year.
Okay, let's get into it then. This inaugural OGL Super Bowl, it was a proper clash of titans. You had the Vatican City Saints just dominant, putting up 174 points, huge score.
Massive.
And facing them, the Monsters of the Midway, who scored a respectable 136 points themselves.
Yeah, solid show.
But this wasn't just any old game. This was the #1 seed from the Legacy Conference, that's the Saints, against the #1 seed from the Legends Conference, the Monsters.
On dogs.
Battling it out to be the first ever OGL Super Bowl winner, get their name etched in history right at the start.
Big deal.
The Saints, spoiler alert, they did get the win, pulled off their miracle victory. But let me tell you, the Monsters, they absolutely did not go down without a fight.
Not at all.
This game was just packed with drama, unexpected twists. It had everything.
Yeah, and the Monsters, they were facing a serious uphill climb, really hurting before the game even started. That situation, it just fundamentally changed their whole strategic outlook.
How so?
Well, their star quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, OGL fans call him the Terror. He was out. Hip injury from the week before.
Ouch. Big loss.
Huge. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, their powerhouse running back, David Montgomery, the Lion, he was also sidelined. MCL injury.
Wow, both of them.
Both of them. And these weren't just minor things. These were potentially season-ending type injuries happening right before the biggest game.
Yeah.
So this meant their third-string quarterback, Mason Rudolph, was suddenly thrust into the starting role.
Talk about pressure.
Right. And the team was suddenly without that terrifying double-headed monster in the backfield they'd relied on all season.
Yeah, that 2 Montgomery combo was lethal.
Exactly. And you just have to wonder, how much does that weigh on a team? Not just the playbook, but their confidence heading into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a massive gut punch for the Monsters. So diving into their offense then, with the Lion Montgomery out, it pretty much became the Derrick Henry show.
Oh, absolutely. King Henry, as everyone knows him, he basically had to carry the entire load on the ground.
And he did. I mean, the effort was heroic. He carried the ball, get this, 27 times.
27.
For 147 yards and a touchdown. Plus, he caught both passes thrown his way for another 18 yards.
That's just a legendary workload.
It really is spectacular for one guy to shoulder all that, especially in the Super Bowl. But even with those incredible numbers, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why couldn't they capitalize on that kind of individual brilliance from Henry?
Well, Henry's performance, like you said, it's legendary. One for the ages, really. But it just wasn't enough to drag the Monsters to a win.
Right.
The problem, as we saw it play out, was that even with Henry being so dominant, it just wasn't enough to really draw the Saints defense in, to open up the passing game like the Monsters have been doing all season long.
Okay, so the defense could just key on Henry?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It really highlighted how tough it is to win, relying on, well, a mostly one-dimensional attack, especially against the top team in a championship game.
Makes sense.
And with Mason Rudolph under center instead of the Terror, Tua, that passing game, it just wasn't as scary, plain and simple.
Yeah, I bet.
And you saw that reflected in the receivers' numbers. Scary Terry McLaurin, a guy who's usually a fantasy stud, held to 1 catch for 5 yards.
Wow. 1 catch.
His worst game all season, it really shows how well the Saints covered, knowing where the threats were. or weren't, I guess.
Okay.
Even Jamar Chase, the beast. I mean, he was productive yardage-wise. 9 catches for 102 yards is good.
Yeah, that's solid.
But they kept him out of the end zone. And you need those big scoring plays, those game changers in the Super Bowl. They just weren't there for the passing game.
Right. No touchdowns from the main guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just hammers home that even a king like King Henry needs an army around him, or at least, a passing threat that keeps the defense honest.
Oh, yeah. Those stats really do paint a picture. The monsters just battling uphill the whole time. It almost makes you wonder if they really stood a chance once Tua and Montgomery went down.
It was incredibly tough circumstances, no doubt.
But you mentioned there was one kind of unexpected bright spot for them, someone who stepped up.
Yeah, absolutely. The lone real offensive spark for Mason Rudolph, and it's kind of fascinating in itself, was his connection with Jamison Williams.
Okay, Williams.
Yeah, Williams, who usually has a more limited role, right? He brought in 5 of his 8 targets for 77 yards and a touchdown.
Nice contribution.
And he even managed a rushing touchdown, despite actually losing yardage on his 2 carries, believe it or not.
Okay, a weird rushing TD, but hey, points are points.
Exactly. And that performance, from a player who isn't typically your go-to fantasy option, it just highlights how crucial depth can be.
True.
And how those unexpected contributions can make a difference in a championship game, especially when your stars are struggling or just not there.
Yeah, the unsung hero stepping up.
Right. It kind of suggests that sometimes that guy you picked up off waivers can be just as vital as your first-round pick when it really counts.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the Saints' D, for sure, but also shows a bit of the Monsters' resilience, finding points where they could.
Okay, let's shift gears then. Let's talk about the winners, the Vatican City Saints. They definitely made some bold calls that really paid off.
They certainly did.
The biggest one, maybe the most talked about, was the coach starting the chosen one, Brock Purdy, over the Messiah, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that raised a lot of eyebrows.
I mean, it was questioned relentlessly by OGL commentators, fantasy managers, pretty much everyone leading up to the game. You don't just bench Mahomes, right? Not usually, no. Unless you're really confident.
Well, Purdy absolutely answered the critics. His stat line, that speaks for itself, completed 27 of 35 passes.
Very efficient.
For 377 yards, threw 3 touchdowns, and even ran one in himself. A little 12-yard rushing TD.
Wow, did it all.
Now, okay, gotta mention, his performance was marred by a pair of interceptions late in the game. A couple of mistakes there. But honestly, by that point, the Saints already had a pretty commanding lead, so it was a really strong, almost defiant performance from Purdy in the biggest game.
It really was a gutsy call, and what we saw was the Saints showing incredible adaptability. Because the Monsters, even with their offensive problems, they actually did a great job containing the Saints' running game early on.
Oh, really? I thought the Saints might run all over them.
Nope. That forced the Saints to kind of reassess things and pivot pretty quickly. Devon Achane, the prophet, he had a surprisingly tough game.
Yeah.
Only 10 carries for 25 yards. That's just 2.5 yards per carry, no touchdowns.
Oof, that's not good. Not what you expect from him. And they also made another interesting call, playing Zach Charbonnet over Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco, remember, hadn't looked quite as explosive since coming back from that broken fibula.
I remember that injury.
So Charbonnet got the work. 15 carries for 57 yards, and he chipped in 3 catches for 19 yards. But overall...
the run game just wasn't clicking.
Exactly. The Saints just couldn't get the ground game working and had to quickly pivot their strategy to a pass-heavy attack.
So they adjusted on the fly.
They did. And this isn't just about making changes during the game. It kind of speaks to the foresight of the coaching staff. Maybe having a flexible plan B ready, or at least being willing to ditch plan A when it clearly wasn't working.
Yeah, that's key.
And the fantasy implications there are huge, right? It's a reminder. Even your most reliable stud running backs can get shut down. Championship teams need that versatility, other ways to score, especially from the QB.
Absolutely. And that strategic pivot, it was critical. It totally opened the door for some just incredible performances through the air.
It really did.
And the undisputed star of the Super Bowl, I think we have to say, was the 25-year-old wide receiver, T. Higgins.
Oh, without a doubt. He was phenomenal.
Just dominant. Caught 11 of his 12 targets.
Almost perfect.
For a massive 131 yards and 3 touchdowns.
3 TDs.
The Monsters just had no answer. Purdy just kept connecting with Higgins again and again. Big play after big play. He was just electric.
Unstoppable.
This performance, I mean, it probably earned Higgins a big payday this offseason in the OGL fantasy market, you know?
Oh, for sure. his value just skyrocketed.
And it definitely enshrined himself into OGL lore. First Super Bowl MVP performance, pretty much.
Yeah, you can make that case easily.
But it wasn't just Higgins going off. That's the interesting part. Other young receivers really stepped up too, showing the depth they have. Rookie receiver Jalen McMillan played a pivotal role. He caught all 5 passes thrown his way from Purdy for 2 touchdowns.
Wow, the rookie stepping up big time.
Yeah, really highlighting his growing importance in that offense. And then you had the second-year guy, Jordan Addison. 6 catches on 8 targets, 69 yards, and a touchdown for him, too.
Solid, consistent.
Played that key complementary role perfectly, and that was his 4th straight game getting at least 8 targets, so he's clearly involved.
Right.
But what's really fascinating, I think, is that the veteran guys, the big names like Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen, they were basically blanketed and left out of the passing game.
Yeah, surprisingly quiet.
Which just underscores how these other players, Higgins, McMillan, Addison, they truly stepped up when it mattered most. They found the mismatches, exploited the opportunities. It's kind of a bold strategy to win when your established stars are quiet, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And it's just a perfect example of that flexible offensive philosophy we talked about.
Right.
Think about it. Their run game gets completely shut down. Their star veteran receivers are locked up. And yet the Saints still win pretty comfortably in the end.
Yeah.
How? By leaning brilliantly on that balanced, spread the Hail Marys around game plan, as the OGL commentators called it.
Aha, I like that phrase.
It wasn't about forcing it to one guy. It was Purdy just distributing the ball efficiently, finding whoever was open, and trusting the depth he had.
Smart quarterbacking.
Totally. McMillan getting those 2 touchdowns as a rookie, that highlights Purdy's ability to, unlock that new talent. And maybe the Monsters just couldn't predict where the next threat was coming from once Higgins started demanding so much attention.
Good point. They were spread thin.
Exactly. It really shows that in fantasy, and maybe in real football too, having that diverse set of weapons and a QB willing and able to use them all can beat a more predictable attack, even if that attack has big stars.
Yeah.
That kind of adaptable coaching, that roster depth, that's what really sets championship teams apart.
And just like that, boom. The first OGL Super Bowl had its champion.
History made.
The Vatican City Saints, pulling off that miracle finish, they became the very first team to get their name on that beautiful OGL trophy. Plus, they walked away with a nice $750.
Not bad.
But hey, we can't forget the runners-up, the Monsters of the Midway. What an outstanding season they had, especially battling through those brutal injuries at the end. Absolutely earned their $300 prize.
Yeah, valiant effort for sure.
And let's give a quick shout out to the 3rd place team, the Bennington Barnstormers.
Right, yes, the Barnstormers.
Their boom or bust offense, man, it was exciting to watch all year. They earned $50, and they are definitely a team you got to watch next season. Gave their managers plenty of heart attacks, I'm sure, but in a fun way.
Oh, absolutely. And, this whole inaugural season, it was incredible, it was exciting, and it really sets a remarkably high bar for the OGL moving forward.
Totally agree.
It wasn't just, we finished year 1. No. It established a really compelling story, showed the league's potential for that high-stakes drama, that strategic depth, and it really showcased how much impact things like injuries or quick thinking from coaches can actually have on the outcome.
For sure.
And as we look ahead, believe it or not, preparation for the 2025 rookie draft, it's already starting.
Never stops.
Never stops. And the success of this first season, with all these strategic shifts and breakout stars we saw, it's definitely going to influence how managers approach their drafts and how they manage their teams next year.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Will we see even more dynamic playbooks now? Coaches learning from what the Saints did, really emphasizing that adaptability and depth? Or will some managers maybe double down on just raw star power, hoping they can dodge those key injuries? It's going to be fascinating to watch how the league evolves.
What an incredible deep dive that was into the OGL's first ever Super Bowl. Just amazing.
So much to unpack.
From those rough injury setbacks for the Monsters to the Saints' strategic pivots, and there's just unforgettable breakout games from guys like Higgins and McMillan. It really did have everything.
It truly did.
So as that OGL trophy finds its first home with the Vatican City Canes, it establishes this powerful legacy, not just for that team, but really for the competitive spirit of fantasy football itself, right?
Absolutely. Sets the tone.
So as you sit back and think about this thrilling first championship, especially that bold coaching move with Purdy and those kind of unsung heroes stepping up, maybe consider this. What does this miracle victory really tell us about the true value of, say, adaptability and depth compared to just pure star power when you're trying to build a championship fantasy team?
Good question to ponder.
And maybe, what unexpected paths might future champions take to reach the top of the Omaha Gridiron League?
This has been a presentation of the Omaha Gridiron League podcast.